a trace. Three brothers last seen alive more than 14 years ago could soon be declared dead. The push from their mom and where the man who authorities say last saw them could walk free. Plus, adding hours to the school year, why lawmakers are pushing for more time in the classroom and what it means for students and parents if it moves forward.
And feeling like spring this evening. Temperatures are in the 50s with that gusty breeze, but it's back to winter mode for the first weekend of March. I'll have that full weekend outlook coming up in just a bit. Kaylee.
Thanks for joining us on WTOL 11 News on Plus. I'm Kaylee Marantet. Let's get to your Friday night headlines. 11 Investigates is still digging into child abuse allegations surrounding a Toledo gym, Soul City Boxing. Rashawn Jones says detectives have not yet reached out to him regarding any child abuse at the boxing gym he runs with his father. He told us yesterday he wants to get the issue resolved as soon as possible, and the gym will remain closed until the allegations are resolved and the threats against gym employees stop. Toledo police say no additional police reports have been filed. The gym has received some funding from the city of Toledo, though. $5,000 for youth programming in 2022 and a $20,000 grant for the 2024-2025 school year. A city spokesperson says Soul City only accessed $2,100 of that for a total of $7,100. We also found the city paid $70,000 in ARPA funds to Sound Mind Behavior Wellness in 2022 for a contractual service, a portion of which went to Soul City. And the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lucas County awarded a grant for $20,000 to the gym last year for community wellness. Jones says these grants fund youth programming at Soul City. No one has been charged or arrested in this case, and police have not detailed a victim, suspect, or dated the alleged abuse, citing youth privacy laws. The woman accused of killing two kids after crashing through a child's birthday party is set to go on trial Monday. 67-year-old Marcella Chittister faces multiple charges, including murder. Authorities say she was drinking before crashing into the Swan Boat Club in Monroe County last April. The crash killed 4-year-old Zane Phillips and his 8-year-old sister Alana. 15 others were hurt. WTOL 11 will be there for the trial and bring you updates every day. The mother of 3 missing brothers is asking a judge to legally declare the boys dead. Tanya Zuvers filed the request in Lenawee County Probate Court in December. The 3-day hearing is set to start Monday. Andrew Alexander and Tanner Skelton vanished the day after Thanksgiving in 2010. They have not been seen alive since. The boys were last seen with this man, their father, John Skelton, in Morenci. He later said he gave them to a, quote, underground organization, end quote. Investigators found no evidence to support that claim. Skelton is serving a 10-year sentence for unlawful imprisonment. He's scheduled to be released later this year. Students and teachers could soon be spending more time in the classroom. Ohio lawmakers are considering a move to increase the minimum number of hours in schools. Silver Barker explains.
Post-COVID now, there's no reason for any school district to sit at the state minimum amount.
Ohio State Representative Josh Williams is co-sponsoring a bill that would add 53 hours of instruction time to schools. And where those hours are to be added would be left for the district to decide.
It could be one less professional development day. It could be an extended school year one day. It could be an extra 30 minutes on classroom time. It could be an extra 10 minutes here and there.
Right now, the state minimum amount is 1,001 hours for grades 6 through 12 and 910 hours for K through 5th. Williams says this legislation comes after House Bill 43, which waived the minimum instructional hours for Ashtabula due to an unexpected roof collapse.
As a result, students couldn't progress to the next grade on time. And that was all because that school district elected to essentially use the minimal standards.
Williams argues school districts need to be able to negotiate in contracts for additional calamity days. Union leader and president of Sylvania Education Association, Dan Greenberg, says while he supports adding more hours, he has one concern: money.
For the state to come in and say, we need to do this, kids need to be in the classrooms more, but we're cutting $100 million from the state budget to fund schools, that's really difficult to see those two things come at the same time.
Otsego Schools Superintendent Kevin O'Shea says this proposal would significantly reduce the buffer for calamity days due to inclement weather, illness, or other unforeseen closures, and worries it would also affect the structuring of calendars based on student and community needs. Reporting in Toledo, Silver Barker, WTOL 11.
3 people in Maumee have filed an objection with the Lucas County Board of Elections. They're asking the board to reject a petition to remove 6 council members and the mayor. WTOL 11 has reported the community frustrations over city mandates with rental properties and sewer systems and how it's led to a growing divide within the community. A group called Maumee Patriots is behind the recall effort, but the objection filed this week argues there are no provisions in the Maumee City Charter or Ohio law that provide for or authorize the recall of an elected official in the city of Maumee. Lucas County Board of Election confirms this issue will go before the board Tuesday morning. Ohio's new marijuana tax revenue is rolling in, but the state isn't spending it just yet. WTOL 11 checked in with the Office of Budget and Management. A spokesperson says since recreational sales started after the current budget was set, there's no plan for the money to be spent this fiscal year. Instead, those funds will likely be allocated into the next budget. That's similar to how Ohio handled sports betting revenue. Marijuana money is coming in for communities in Michigan. In fact, Lenawee County is set to receive more than $1 million. The state collected taxes and fees from sales at licensed marijuana businesses. Now that cash is going back out. The county tells WTOL 11 it can determine how to spend tax money brought in from weed sales. A portion of the funds is split between education, road improvements, and reinvestments into neighborhoods. For many, pets are more than just animals, they're family. And for some, that raises the question, when filing out taxes, can you write off what you spend on your furry friends? Our sister station in Greensboro, North Carolina verifies.
A pet is a priceless investment. Consumer Reports estimates the average dog parent spends between $15,000 to $30,000 on the animal's care over its lifetime.
If you pamper your pet, chances are your Instagram algorithm pushed you this post, shared more than 650,000 times. It claims the IRS will allow tax deductions on pets starting in 2025. To verify, I consulted the IRS and certified public accountant Ryan Dodson. The claim is true with a critical caveat.
Can you deduct your pet expenses and so forth? Absolutely you can, if you meet certain requirements that set out by the Americans with Disabilities Act. If you meet those requirements, that's what the IRS follows, you can deduct those expenses.
So a filer can deduct a pet only if it's a service animal. Dodson said there are no changes in 2025 to existing tax code, which lays out the rules in Publication 502. A filer can include in medical expenses the costs of buying, training, and maintaining a guide dog or other service animals to assist a visually impaired or hearing disabled person or person with other physical disabilities. It's important to note filers who get audited will need proof their pets qualify.
You're going to have to show, hey, look, there's a link between the treatment and the illness of this condition that you have. So another thing that the IRS may look for is that they may look to see, okay, did you acquire this animal after you were diagnosed with this condition?
So the hype about the viral post is mostly all bark. Filers can deduct medical expenses for only qualifying service animals. One more note to write off these expenses, they must exceed 7.5% of the filer's adjusted gross income. With your Verify, I'm Megan Malaris.
And turning to that forecast, winds certainly howling this evening, and a windy evening is expected with those gusts approaching 40 miles an hour, but diminishing gradually later this evening. And a scattered shower or two may be possible as a cold front sweeps in. Ahead of that front, a balmy feel, a taste of spring with temperatures surging up into the 50s. Overnight lows are going to drop from the 50s to the 20s as that front moves on through. And here it is now stretching across central Michigan with a round of some light and scattered rain showers that may wet the pavement for those late Friday evening plans. So let's break down the timeline. Between about 8 p.m. through midnight, we are expecting some light rain showers to drift in from the northwest. Barely anything as far as rainfall totals. And by midnight, showers going to be moving south and east, just enough to wet the pavement through daybreak tomorrow. A much colder breeze is expected tomorrow. It's not going to be as windy windy, but winds are going to feel colder, blowing from the northwest, and that wind could blow in a couple of snow flurries for weekend plans. Temperatures are going to be dropping down to the 40s late this evening, and then after midnight plunging down into the 20s with a harshly colder feel. Looking at your Saturday forecast, 30 degrees. A brief snow flurry may be possible. Winds are going to range from 15 to 25, blowing from the northwest. The weekend does turn brighter on Sunday. That Acoustics for Autism forecast does feature increasing sun and calmer winds for your Sunday. But boy, Saturday is going to be a chilly feeling day with temperatures right around 30. A much colder than average start to March. Our normal for March 1st is 42 degrees, and by the end of March, that average high climbs up to 55. The 10-day forecast does bring us some milder days arriving midweek. There is going to be a rain chance late Tuesday into Wednesday as temperatures surge. However, by the end of next week, we are going to be dropping off to some more seasonable levels with temperatures falling back to the 40s, and we spring forward an hour next Saturday night into next Sunday. Kaylee?
All right, thanks, John. The Bowling Green State University Falcons are in the market for a new head football coach. The university announced Scott Loeffler has accepted a job as the quarterback coach with the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. Loeffler leaves BGSU after 6 seasons, leading the Falcons to 3 straight bowl games. BG has immediately launched a national search for the next head football coach. And the Orange and Brown are heading to the land of green. The Bowling Green State University Marching Band has been invited to march in the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin, Ireland. 75% of the band's 300 students will make the trip. The Marching Falcons will be one of about a dozen marching bands taking part in one of the biggest parades in all of Europe.
I am really charged up about being able to showcase the Falcon Marching Band, to show the Falcon Marching Band to a huge audience overseas, and to also give our students that experience of traveling abroad, of seeing a new culture, a new country, experiencing new things, new foods, all of that, and this is going to be an amazing trip.
The band will also perform an outdoor concert in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin. Acoustics for Autism is back this Sunday, and while the music is front and center, it's really about raising money to support families affected by autism. Megan Hartnett has the details.
It just feels hard.
Having a child diagnosed with autism can bring a lot of uncertainty for families trying to figure out care plans.
Every child has their own individual needs, and it's really important to kind of recognize that and keep that at the forefront when collaborating with parents and the child's care team and the child to determine what therapeutic approach are we wanting to take.
There is applied behavioral analysis, there's speech therapy, occupational therapy. There's a multitude of therapies that can help, and everybody kind of walks that journey themselves.
And not all of these are covered by insurance. This is where the nonprofit Project I Am comes in, helping families with costs for those therapies as parents work to find the right fit for their kid.
It might not be that the therapy isn't effective. It may be a small adjustment that may need to be made with the therapeutic approach.
The organization also helps with other needs. Kate Schwartz's son doesn't have normal pain receptors, and his wisdom teeth were growing in sideways. Anesthesia wasn't covered by insurance, but it was covered by Project I Am.
I might have cried. And when I say I really did have tears in my eyes because, we pay for so much out of pocket because it's not covered by insurance, or it's easier, or, you get tired of fighting insurance companies.
Schwartz says this small moment for the charity means the world to her family.
Acoustics for Autism kicks off at noon on Sunday and goes all the way until 2 a.m. The money raised goes directly to Project I Am. If your planning calendar is empty, there is plenty to do around the 419 this weekend. For those of the old-fashioned taste, Ohio Vintage Fest returns to downtown Toledo this weekend. More than 50 vendors are selling primarily vintage clothing, as well as some vintage home goods, vinyl records, toys and collectibles, and more. It's happening this Sunday from noon until 5 at the Glass City Center on Jefferson Avenue. General admission is $5.